Good day, everyone. I am Jerusa J. Labandero, and I am going to discuss to you the ultimate Frisbee rules. Nature of the game. Ultimate Frisbee is a fast-moving, competitive and non-contact sport played by two 7-person teams in correct. 3 men and 3 women make up a team. The sport has a great amount of freedom and informality implicit in the rules. Primary among these is the spirit of sportsmanship, which enable the honor system to be effective. The object of Ultimate Frisbee is to gain points by scoring goals. The disc may only be passed and a goal is scored when a player successfully passes the disc to a teammate in the end zone which that team is attacking. The team with the most points at the end of the game is declared the winner. Players. Each team shall consist of 7 players. A minimum of 4 players is required on site, ready to play prior to game to avoid a forfeit. No more than 2 Ultimate Sport Club members are allowed per team roster. Incorrect teams consist of 4 men and 3 women. A minimum of 4 players, 2 men and 2 women, is required on site, ready to play prior to game time to avoid a forfeit. No more than 3 and no less than 2 players of each gender may participate at one time. Equipment. The Office of Campus Recreation will furnish the discs. They will be 165-gram frisbees. Players may not wear shoes with metal cleats. Teams members are encouraged to wear shirts of the same color. Flag belts may be provided to aid teams in identifying their teammates. Playing fields. The playing field will be 70 yards long, 215-yard end zone, and approximately 40 yards wide. Officials will not be provided by the Office of Campus Recreation, and the teams will play on an honor system. An intramural staff assistant will be present to mediate protests, problems, and disputes. The time of the game. A game of Ultimate Frisbee lasts for 36 minutes, divided into 2 18 minutes halves. Half time lasts 5 minutes. The clock will run continuously until the last minute of each half, when it will be stopped after every goal, 4 times out, injuries, fouls, and when the disc goes out of the bounds. The clock starts when the disc is touched inbound, and after every throw off, when the disc is touched by a member of the receiving team. Play continues at the location of the disc when the play was stopped. Each team is permitted 1 timeout per half, each lasting for 1 minute. Timeouts may be called by either team after a goal and before the ensuing throw-off. A team must be in position of the disc in order to call a timeout during play. There will be a sudden death overtime period. First team to score is the winner. The captain flip a coin or disc to determine which team will throw off, receive, or defend a goal. Throw off. Plays begin with the throw off. The captain flip a coin or disc to determine which team will throw, receive, or choose a goal. The teams shall alternate throw-offs at the beginning of each period. All players must be on or behind their own goal line without changing relative position. A player on the goal line throws the disc toward the other team. As soon as the disc is released, all players may cross the goal line. No player on the throwing team may touch the disc in the air before it is touched by a member of the receiving team. The receiving team may catch the disc or allow it to fall untouched to the ground. If a member of the receiving team successfully catches the throw-off, then may advance the disc by passing at the point. If the receiving team touches the disc and fails to catch it, the team which throw off gains possession of the disc where it is stopped. If the disc is allowed to fall untouched to the ground, the receiving team gains possession where it is stopped. If the disc goes out of the bound, end line or sideline, the receiving team makes the immediate decision of first, gaining position at the point the disc went out of the bounds, or taking position of the disc on the goal line at the nearest corner if it went out of bounds after crossing the goal line. Each time a goal is scored, the teams switch direction of their attack and the team which scored through off of the signal of the receiving team. The end zone. Anytime a team gains position in the end zone, which they are defending, the player immediately chooses to resume play where the disc is stopped or at the goal line. A player may carry the disc up to the goal line provided he or she approaches it perpendicularly. The disc may not be passed as the player approaches the line. If a team gains position in the end zone which it is attacking, the disc is carried perpendicularly to the goal line and plays resume immediately from the goal line. The play. The team which has position on the disc must attempt to play or to move the disc into position so that they may score a goal. The disc may be propelled in any way the player wishes. The disc may never be handed from one player to player. In order for the disc to go from one player to another, it must at some time be in the air. No player may walk, run, or take step in position of the disc. The momentum of the receiver, however, must be taken into consideration. Should a player take a steps obviously not required to stop, a foul is called. The player in position may pivot on one foot as in basketball. The pivot foot may not be changed by the thrower. If the pivot foot is changed, a foul is called. Only one player may guard the person in position of the disc. If one defender is guarding and the second is within 6 feet of the player with the disc, double team can be called. The second defender must retreat the counting resumes. The disc may not be wrenched from the gas on the opposing player or knocked from any player's hand. If the disc is dropped by the thrower without interference by defender, a turnover results. If the disc is simultaneously caught, offense retains position. The defensive team gain position whenever the offensive team pass in incomplete, intercepted, knocked down, or goes out of bounds. A rolling or sliding disc may be stopped by any player, but may not be advanced in any directions. After the disc is stopped, no defensive player may touch it. Position is gained at the point where the disc is stopped. Any member of the team gaining position of the disc may throw it. A player may catch his or her own throw only if the disc has been touched by other or another player during flight. Bubbling to gain control is permitted, but tipping to oneself is not allowed. Fouls and Frisbee. A throwing foul is called only by the player fouled. The thrower may not push the defender back in order to throw. Any physical contact during the throw is a foul against the defender. Contact occurring after release of the disc is not sufficient grounds for a foul. If the pass is completed, the foul is automatically declined and play proceeds without stopping. Players must play the disc, not the opponent. That is, they may not position themselves on the field for the purpose of blocking others' player. To do so is a foul. In playing the disc, players must respect the established positions of others. Low momentum contact during and after catching attempt is often unavoidable and is not a foul. Violent impact with legitimately positioned opponents constitutes harmful and endangerment and is a foul. This must be strictly avoided. Ejection of offending player may also result. The player who is fouled calls foul. Stop play and the fouled players gain position at the end of infraction. For a momentum of pivoting foul, play stops, a check on the disc occurs, but position is retained by the thrower. Play continues when both teams are ready. Should a foul occur in the end zone, position is gained at the goal line. A stalling violation occurs when the player guarding the thrower calls stalling and counts out 10 seconds. If the disc has not been released at the end of the count, it is turned over to the defense at the point. Scoring of the game. A goal is scored when an offensive player lands inbound with any part of both feet in the end zone after receiving a pass from teammate. The goal line is not considered part of the end zone. A team that scored received 1 point. The substitutions. Substitutions can be made only first, after a goal and before the ensuing throwout. Second, to replace an injured player. And the last, after a period of play. Substitution can also be made during a timeout. Clarifying statements. There are no scrimmage lines of offsides in ultimate Frisbee. The disc may be passed in any direction, forward, to the side, or backward. The term "when both teams are ready" implies that the offensive team will hold the disc until the defensive is ready, and then hand the disc to the thrower. Restarting the clock in the last minute of the period would occur. It should be common practice that the offensive team find a position, then remain stationary until the disc is given to the thrower. The disc may fly out of bounds and return to the playing field. The defense may attempt to knock the disc down when the disc is thrown in front out of bounds. The stalling call should be initiated only when it becomes obvious that stall is occurring. Protests. All protests except eligibility will be settled on site by the intramural staff assistant. The staff assistant decision is final. Protests should be lodged immediately to the staff assistant. So, that was the rules of the ultimate Frisbee. Thank you for listening.